I am your host, Kevin, and I'm here once again with our regular host, Aaron.
What up?
And once again, our guest host, Shantae. Shantae, how's it going?
Hi, everyone.
Aaron.
The police contact you, say you know nothing.
It's good to see you guys. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Man. Just been playing some video games and hanging out on my summer break. It's
Summer
awesome.
break, treating you well.
Absolutely.
Shantae, you also been playing video games?
Yes, I have actually.
Oh, what you been playing? Oh.
Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
I got Pokemon's Shield.
Okay.
All right.
And then this game, Overcooked 2.
I seen that one.
It's ruining my life, though.
Okay.
It's better as a group game, but then you're like, pass the eggs! I need eggs over here! And
This
it's
is crazy.
fun but crazy, yes.
Okay. Today, we are going to be talking on Top 5 Go about Disney villains. We're going to use this to kick off Disney month here at Top 5 Go.
Disney.
And we're going to start with Disney villains. Now, villains are something that every movie has, but some of them do it better than others. And we're going to talk about that. Before we get any further, I want to introduce our host, our guest, one of our good friends. She's a Disney fanatic.
Yes.
Complete nut job.
Our friend Ann Mansfield. Hey!
Hey!
What's going on?
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. We knew you were a big Disney fan, which is why when we decided to do Disney Month, we knew we had to get you on for one of these. And I felt like you're just villainous enough to be able to do Disney villains.
Great.
Absolutely.
Happy to be included in that category.
So, Ann, do you have any? What's your best Disney story? I know you used to have a Disneyland pass.
Yes, I did. I think prior to, injuring my knee, I was able to move a lot quicker. And
Correct.
I was exploring California Adventure as one does. And Mr. and Mrs. Incredible started walking down one of the streets holding hands. And I bum rushed them. I ran. I was like, I am getting to Mrs. Incredible before any of these children do. And I did. And I got to hold hands with Mrs. Incredible as a 26-year-old lady. And I was talking to the character, obviously, because that's what you do.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, you are so great. I mean, he's okay too, but you're really cool. And she looked at me, and she did the so hand signal, and then we both went, ha ha ha! And so I have a picture of, me and Mrs. Incredible, laughing at her husband.
Nice.
See, I told you guys, Ann was the perfect guest for Disney.
Yes,
Week.
definitely.
Disney
I can't
Month.
believe she went with that one instead of the time that we went together, and we literally got to go and access the whole park because they were filming the parade at the time.
Oh.
So
That was also great.
we went on every single ride at least 3 times.
That's crazy.
Because everyone was down on Main Street, so that was our trip to.
Listen, I love that Mrs. Incredible story. That free open range on the park is a good story too.
When you can splash Mountain 3 times and get back and forth from Space Mountain, and then hit Indy a couple times and not have to wait in any lines, it's awesome.
The only thing is though, her story. She talked about how she was villainous to Mr. Incredible.
Listen, it does fit.
It fits
It does
the theme
fit
a little
the
better.
theme of the day, but as my former roommate, or as Ann's former roommate, I absolutely know how villainous she can be.
Wow.
So as you guys know here at Top 5 Go, we start off with the criteria. So Ann, what is your criteria for your top 5 villain list?
Okay, so I'm going to make it very vague because my 5th one makes it very confusing.
Okay.
Overall, I balanced it out with rewatchability of the film itself, and
Okay.
then the actual objective of the villain.
Okay.
Because
Fair.
some of the villains in Disney have very evil desires, right?
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
of them are just very fun and kind of goofy and dopey,
Okay.
And so
Now you're naming the 7
I know I'm just putting in character names into my analysis. So I decided to go with, for the most part, how rewatchable is the film?
Okay. That's
And-
a good one.
How like evil are the intentions of the character.
Okay, so then at number 5, for top 5 go, and who do you have at number 5?
Okay, so my number 5 was the one that was out of the realm of what most of these other ones fit in, but it's the Junior Ranger Scouts from Zootopia.
Okay.
So let's start off. They're not even the villains, okay? So the villain,
So wait,
the villain is
villain rank, and you said I'm gonna start off with the non-villain.
Yes, that's what I said. So
Okay.
in Zootopia,
Mhm.
right, the little tiny sheep, the assistant mayor, ends up being the villain. Spoiler.
Like,
But-
you should have watched the movie by now.
I know, really, like you're
Well, I
listening
got a
to a top
story.
5 villain podcast. And you're
I got a story about why I haven't seen that. But
Okay, we'll talk about
Okay.
that.
So, I picked the Junior Ranger Scouts because the scene where Nick Wilde goes and he's so excited to finally be a Junior Ranger Scout,
Mhm.
and he goes into the basement, and they like start this weird looking frat initiation, and you're like, weird, and then they like attack him and muzzle him, and that's why he has turned to like his life of shady crime. Is so heartbreaking, and it's like it's such a thing that kids and adults who like weren't necessarily in a crew can relate to,
Mhm.
or like they tried to fit in with another crew that they thought like they wanted to be in, but they just didn't work, right? And it was like I could cry just thinking about it.
Mhm.
Like just when he goes into the alley and he tries to take off the muzzle and he throws it on the ground. Ugh. Those kids suck.
So those kids, you have those kids, the Junior Ranger Scouts.
Junior Ranger Scouts.
See, now I saw Zootopia, I want to say about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. Just watching it on the Disney Channel app, actually, I think.
Mhm.
And I was just very surprised how good it was. It's one of those underrated,
Really good.
really good Disney movies that
Aaron
most
is
people have
shaking
seen.
his head right now.
But apparently Aaron hasn't.
I haven't seen
Sorry,
it, and
Aaron.
no, it's okay. I haven't seen it, and there's a very specific reason. I think the true villain in that whole movie is the creator of the scene at the DMV. Because I saw that in like a long format preview
Of the sloths?
of the sloths, and I sat in my theater seat, the chair, and I was so anxiety ridden. It was so accurate. It was, I just could not sit through a movie knowing that I was going to have to relive that scene. It was anyway. I just couldn't. So I get it. I missed out on a good movie, but that scene was probably one of the most perfect scenes I've ever seen, and I cannot sit through it again.
I definitely get it. It definitely makes sense. Shantae,
All
who
right.
do you have at number 5?
So for my list, I tried to pick people that I personally felt were extremely villainous, whatever the motivation. Because there's some villains I love. I love Hades from Hercules.
Mhm.
Ursula's my girl. Like they're bad people, but I love them.
So what's your criteria? My bad.
That's my criteria.
Yeah.
Like I try to pick people who, like, man, you really just are an evil son of a bitch.
Okay,
And, like,
okay.
that's why you're on my list. So there's some variations, but my number 5 is a little less so, but he also is kind of a jerk. Pistol Pete, or Pete. He is Mickey Mouse's antagonist and Goofy's frenemy. If you watch Goof Troop or any of those, and he's the bad guy, but in Goof Troop and in a Goofy movie, he's that like your neighbor who is kind of your friend, but really they're just trying to show you up all the time. He's a shitty father. He's kind of a shitty human being in general. And then then he has that classic villain, role. So he's my number 5.
Pete, he was in a Goof Troop.
Mm-hmm.
He was
He's
in
in
a
a
Goofy
Goofy
movie.
movie. He was in the early Mickey cartoons.
Yeah, with him being in the early Mickey cartoons and then being in color
Mhm.
in the movies later on, it's really surprised that he's lasted this long for being like a minor character in the Disney scape, if you will.
Mhm.
And he's like the father to Little Pete.
To Little Pete.
Little Pete. And I thought he was funny. I don't think of Pete as more of a villain and more of a
He's a
main
foil.
person. Yeah.
He's a foil too. And that's why I say a little less so, but still what he represents throughout his history. Like in the beginning, when he first came out, he was always just this jerky guy who's trying to ruin everybody's fun. And then when you move to things like a Goofy movie, Goof Troop, where it's set in suburbia and all the worst aspects of suburban living he embodies, he's still a villain to me for those reasons.
But that's fair.
I feel like he's like a Newman
Yeah.
from Seinfeld. You know,
Yeah.
like he's like that neighbor who's always just a little too nosy, but also wants to put you in your place when they don't have any right to.
Yeah. I get that. Okay. I can feel you with Pete. Aaron, who do you have at 5?
Well, I looked at motivations on a lot of my characters. Some of them, I chose maybe because they're just badasses without any motivation. But I really did try to look at the motivations behind the villains in my stories. And my number 5 is Shere Khan from the
Jungle Book, yeah.
So one, completely badass because who hasn't seen a Bengal tiger and just been in awe of what they are.
Definitely.
But his true motivation behind it was fear of man. And I mean, I think that if you're gonna be looking at these animal characters in this, it's a true fear of that. So that's why he's afraid of Mowgli, and it absolutely affects his decision making. Not even to want to get to know Mowgli. I mean, he used to be friends with Baloo, Bagheera, Louie, and all of those guys, but just because of this fear of man, he, it made him descend into madness, if you will, and go after Mowgli.
Pure prejudice.
For me, I always consider though Shere Khan is a villain.
Yes.
I feel like Louie is like one of the bigger villains in that.
Louis is definitely a villain in that at times, but he's also not motivated by that. It's more of I would say Louis as the, he's kind of like a drug lord, on the side.
He may not necessarily be positive, but he is antagonistic against, Mowgli, or he's like, he wants to learn from him so he can be an even bigger badass in the jungle.
Exactly.
This is true.
So Shere Khan at number 5 for sheer badassery, but motivation, I get where he's come from, why he's afraid. And that theme kind of pops up a couple of times in my list.
Okay. For me, my list is also by motivation, but I feel like the biggest villains are the ones that don't have any real motivation as to why they're a bad guy against the protagonist specifically. Right?
Yes.
So, for instance, when you think of like Thor: The Dark World, right? There's the elves. They have no beef with Thor. He has beef with Odin's father. Like, they're going to beef with Odin.
Right.
But now here Thor is having to deal with this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And so now, but then there's a villain, and they're like, well, listen, Thor, it is what it is. You're here, so we're gonna get
who's
it.
not here? You are?
Correct. Which is why for my number 5, I have Lotso. I have Lotso at number 5 from Toy Story 3.
Oh gosh.
You're messing with my list now. That's okay.
Let me tell you why Lotso.
I'm not changing my
Listen,
list.
I got Lotso at 5. Let me tell you why. Lotso is one of Bonnie's toys, right? As you know, if those that don't know, in Toy Story 3,
You should have watched it by now.
She's not. No. He's the head of the toy gang in the preschool.
His
He's
girl
not
is
one of Bonnie's
Daisy.
toys.
he becomes
His
one
girl
of
was
Lotso's.
Daisy.
Yeah. So he's in the preschool, chilling. He has no real beef with Woody and them. He has no real beef with Woody and them, but all of a sudden, that's his thing. He needs to go ahead and just get rid of these other toys for no reason, but
He
so
just
that
wants to
way,
kill their spirit.
yeah,
He's the grumpy old man on the porch yelling at the damn
get off my lawn, get off my toy box.
That ever faintly smells of strawberries. You know that old man. We all have him.
So that is Lotso, right? And so with Lotso being that bear, he's that guy. Like you said, he has a whole gang of other toys that are working under him at the daycare, but it just doesn't. His motivations for coming at Woody and them, it's not there. They all live in peace. Woody got his gang. Woody and Buzz got their gang. If you guys notice, did you notice that like Buzz has like a real more backseat role later on in the movies?
Yeah.
but it's Woody's game.
It's always been about Woody.
It's always
Even
been
the
Woody's
first
game.
one, it was Woody not being able to deal with Buzz being
True.
the new kid on the block. It's never been about Buzz. It's always been about Buzz.
So with Woody's game and Andy Soy's now coming to the daycare, all of a sudden he's got issues. This is why Lotso is number 5 on my list. It was top 5 villains.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
So, Anne, who do you have at number 4?
Okay, so at number 4, I get into like actual villains more so, and then rewatchability. So while this villain might be number 1 on a lot of lists just based off of what her intentions are, the movie itself for me is not one that I go back to and I'm like, you know what? I want to relive this moment in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, meh. But it's Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Like,
Okay.
bitch wants to kill puppies.
Right.
Like, what? Like, crazy lady is like, oh, hi, employee. Oh, you had a litter of puppies? How many puppies? Can I skin them? Like, whose mind goes there?
Mhm.
Insane people.
Right.
But 101 Dalmatians as a film is not, like, super rewatchable for me.
Yeah.
agree with
I'm not really
Yeah.
something to do.
That or all the sequels.
You know, I have a real good 101 or 102 or 103 or 104 Dalmatians. I have a real good question. So you know how Disney's remaking all these movies, live action, right?
They already did a live
They
action.
already did live
That's what I'm
action.
gonna say.
And Glenn Close was phenomenal.
Do you think they do it again?
No, because they can't top Glenn Close. Who could be
And I know
more
that.
Cruella?
I'm with you, but like you know, they're just revamping them all. Do you think it's on the long list, not the short list? Definitely not on the short list. But do you think it's on their long list? You're like, you know what? We need to relook at 101.
We need to do it again.
Yeah, we already did a live action version, but you know what? Let's run it back.
I think it is because they've been doing all the live action animals. They've done Lion King. They've done Dumbo. They did Lady and the Tramp.
Mhm.
So it's definitely got to be on their list. But
I have
Long,
big issues
long
with all.
list.
I have
Yes.
big issues with all of these live action remakes, but
Oh.
that's probably for another podcast.
That's for another
I got-
time.
that's another time. But
I
I
got
totally
real big
agree with you. I will
I'm
say,
done.
not to get us off topic, but I would say the one that I felt was most successful, even though I wouldn't necessarily call it a success, was Aladdin.
I don't know if it was I enjoyed it the most, probably.
Exactly.
But I don't know if it was the most successful, I think, was Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, see,
No,
I saw
nope,
Beauty and
can't-
the Beast, but
can't
I
get
haven't
behind
seen
it.
Aladdin.
Sorry.
Mm.
But it was not when you compare it to the nostalgia that they're trying to regain.
Right.
It's
And my issue with Beauty and the
Beauty
Beast is they had all these phenomenal singers, and then Belle was Emma from Harry
Watson.
Potter, Emma Watson, whatever her name is. She can't sing. I had no issue with how she looks, but you don't have like Luke Evans and like Kevin.
Olaf.
Yeah, Olaf was in it. All these people who are singers are known as singers, and
Josh
they-
Gad.
Yeah, I know it's Josh Gad. I just
Josh
I can't
Gad.
remember
And
his
then,
name.
but then you have Emma freaking Watson.
Well,
she can't sing.
Well, you said the most successful. I thought you meant commercial. I think
No,
you made
I mean the most
money.
successful in terms of matching the original
Okay.
feel,
Okay.
nostalgia.
I don't think neither Aladdin nor Beauty and the Beast would be the case. I think the case would be the Jungle Book.
See, here's why I don't think of the Jungle Book in the same realm. Is because
we're
they've
so
done.
getting off task.
I know we are, but they've done like 5 bajillion live action Jungle Books over and over and over again.
Sure.
And so when I think about them doing these remakes, I think of them thinking about the 90s classics as remakes, except
Okay.
for Cinderella, which kind of sneaks in,
Yeah.
So I don't
No,
think about Jungle Book.
unless it's the Brandy version of Cinderella, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see another white blonde girl in a blue dress crying on my screen. I want to see Brandy and Whitney Houston singing duets in a cover. Okay.
There, I'm with that. Shinte, who you got for number 4?
Okay, well, I did say I wasn't going to change, but I am going to now because I did have Lotso as my number 4 because he is evil. Like that scene in Toy Story where they're all holding hands as they almost roll into the incinerator.
Oh my god.
Got it.
Tears.
But because
right
you
now.
said Lotso already, and I'm trying to be a little strategic this time, I'm going to go with Charles Muntz from Up.
Okay.
So he's the guy who was there, the old dude's idol, and he went and found Paradise Falls, Angel Falls, whatever it's called. And he gets there in his house and he meets his hero, and his hero's knucking fuss. And like goes after him and the dog and everything. And it kind of is similar to the Cruella de Vil. Like he's there with his dogs. He gives them the gift of speech, but then kind of reinforces the the hierarchy, lets them bully, squirrel, and all that stuff. And then he tries to kill his biggest fan.
Yeah.
This guy blew up a bajillion balloons just to get there and to possibly meet him. And then he tries to kill him. Like, the guy is crazy. He needs some help. And so he's my number 4.
See, I thought about putting him on my list, but then I was talking to my boyfriend, and I was like, I can kind of see where, like, being a man of science, being a man... Hold on. Being a man of science, he goes to Paradise Falls, right? He brings back these bones, and he's pumped. And he's like, this is it. This is going to be the pinnacle of my career. And they're like, you're faking it. So he's like, fine, I'm going back, and I'm going to bring back one alive. Deuces. And he goes away for all this time. And then, like, this old man and this tiny little fat Asian boy are gonna, like, ruin his plans. Like, I want Kevin to be free, Bird Kevin. To be free and to be wandering and to take care of Kevin.
Not you, Kevin. You can stay
Not you,
locked
Kevin.
up.
Kevin, you can stay inside. Stay inside, wear your mask, But, I don't agree with what he was trying to do, but, like, I understand how he went mad. Does that make sense?
I do too. I feel the isolation, but he was crazy. Like,
did this COVID situation give you a new perspective on how?
Actually, no. I've been enjoying my isolation. To be quite honest, everyone's like, "Oh, I haven't had human interaction." I've had too much interaction. I had emails after emails, 5 bajillion Zoom meetings. Like, I'm okay with being alone with my solitude for a little while. I haven't had that experience, so no.
I myself was thinking about the Up movie, and I personally am not a huge Up. I'm not a big fan of Up. I'm also, hot take, not a huge fan of WALL-E. And what are you doing?
Are you eating?
Are you eating?
We can hear you.
I'm not eating. We're getting ready to feed the cats.
Okay. Well, we can.
Sorry.
We can definitely hear that. Tell Fred and Larry to quiet down.
Right. So, hot take. I am not a fan of Up. I'm not really a fan of WALL-E.
I love WALL-E.
I do too.
I fell asleep in WALL-E, and then I woke up and then went to sleep. I fell asleep and then went to sleep. That's how I feel about WALL-E.
The
But
thing about Up is it starts off by depressing you horribly.
Right.
I remember I went and saw it in the theater. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cute. And then within the first 5 minutes, I was sobbing uncontrollably. And that's not okay.
Absolutely will sob.
It's not okay.
That opening sequence.
well, that's why
Once you get past that,
that's why his villainous ways just went unchecked by me, just went unnoticed. Because I was like, this movie is gonna suck. And I was done with it. Aaron, what was your feelings on Up?
That was, pretty much the same as Shantae's. Like, once you get through the heart-wrenching opening sequence, like, it's a pretty good film. Like,
Okay.
it's not my favorite by any stretch. It's not
Right.
something that I'm gonna, Up's on, I'm gonna watch this, but it was enjoyable in the time.
Every time you watch
Same with WALL-E. Like, I enjoyed it. The connection between WALL-E and Edie. Some villains in that. Humans. Jeez.
you know,
Are they on the list?
No, it might be. No, I'm kidding.
well, big business. I loved Up, but it is one of the more depressing Pixar films because most people don't even consider the fact that I forgot the kid's name, but Russell, his dad completely abandons him.
Yeah.
Like, this kid was missing for how long? Ain't nobody looking
Wait,
for him.
nobody cares.
No one noticed. They went to his little medal ceremony. His daddy didn't show up. That movie will trigger you horribly.
Yeah.
But it's generally a good movie.
I get you. Aaron,
Yeah.
who do you got at number 4 for your top 5 villains?
So, I'm going to go to my favorite Disney / Pixar film out of the batch, and I'm going to go with Toy Story. I'm going to go with Sid Phillips.
Okay.
This kid is a piece of absolute trash. And I'm actually going to pull a quote from the movie from Rex. He tortures toys just for fun. You know, a scared-ass dinosaur is like terrified for his life. He's going to the, you know, he's going to become oil soon because of this damn kid. Sid's just this bratty, skateboarding punk that likes to freaking either change his toys, you know, figures and manipulate them and cut heads off his sister's dolls. He's just an asshole. And this one, I think I took personally because I had an uncle that decided to take one of my He-Man dolls when I was a young kid, and he put it in a light fixture, and poor He-Man melted. And I, that's probably 5 or 6 years old, when my He-Man is melted to death. So I fucking hate Sid
How hot was that light fixture? That's like
Well,
a
I mean, this is back in the 80s, so who knows how hot it was. But it melted my fucking He-Man.
Yeah.
And fuck Sid Phillips.
I mean, Sid was literally blowing toys up.
He
and
literally
then
was.
masterminding putting them back together.
Oh, absolutely.
Fucked up.
To do it,
Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
he literally, Dr. Frankenstein, he's just a giant asshole, 11-year-old. And, you know, if you're new to the podcast, there's several teachers that are on this. You may not know a couple of asshole 11-year-olds out there that, you know, are potential Sids.
And then Sid had like a graveyard of toys.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love how Woody completely, you know, Woody and the gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they really gave it to him well at the end of that movie. But, yeah, Sid, I mean, I also like how Sid shows up randomly through the other Toy Stories. It's like, you know,
The Garbage Man.
Garbage Man and, you know, other
Oh,
stuff.
really? I
Like
didn't
that.
really
Yeah,
notice that.
he's an Easter egg in several of the.
Oh, so he
Yeah.
continues to live his life in the city?
He grows up and,
But,
you know.
yeah, he's in Toy Story 3 as the Garbage Man. So
So I was sitting here, like, as you were talking, I was thinking about Sid in my mind. And that dude was pretty bad. He is pretty bad.
he's a bad fucking kid.
He's to graduate to pets, and then he's a
Oh,
serial
yeah,
killer.
exactly. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried if Woody and the gang hadn't, you know, spurred his mind a little bit. He was definitely Garbage Man is a good curve for him. He's going to be able to own us a home. And
Yeah, get some
and
benefits.
Maybe have a family, and hopefully doesn't produce any kids. Hopefully he's awful.
Well, as bad as Sid, I think I have a guy that might be a little worse.
Mhm.
Prince Hans of the
Oh, yeah.
Southern Isles. Okay, from Frozen. This dude
Blowing raspberries
Best
for
reveal
Frozen.
Disney has ever
he
done.
shows up. I thought he was a good dude.
I did too.
Everybody thought he was a good dude. You didn't see this coming. There, he wants to woo. Was it Anna? Was it Anna he was trying to
Yeah.
woo?
Anna, yeah.
Anna. Princess Anna.
Princess Anna. He's trying to woo her. They're like, okay, this dude's trying to help. No, this dude's not trying to help nobody but himself.
I remember watching it going so confused, like, she has Hans and then she has other dude. Like, who's she gonna pick? What are they gonna do? And then he
Then it made it
flipped.
clear for you.
Yeah. No, and then when he flipped, I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Well, like I said, my motivation is like, what is the reasoning behind your thing? Anna's not even the queen, right?
Nope.
Nah.
She's not even the queen. So he's trying to get a one up on his crew, and he's gonna just use Anna to get it done. He doesn't even really want to become king of Arendelle. That's like a byproduct down the road, maybe.
Yeah, he's expecting to kill Elsa.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
to bump her off somehow.
Yes, down the road
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
And that's why his motivation for me is that it's just crazy that you're not even trying to win the queen. You're like so dastardly that you're gonna go to her sister and then figure it out from there. Man,
Yeah.
that's why I got Prince Hans in there. And then the fact that like we just talked about, he snowed all of us.
Right.
No one thought he was the bad guy. I thought he was really there to help.
Yeah.
I didn't think Kristoff had a chance.
Me neither. I thought maybe he would bow out once he saw how much Kristoff cared. But I was just like, dang, how's this going to end? And then they did it.
I mean, so I'm right there with you. When I watched it the first time, I was like, "Oh, this Prince Hans, he's such a good guy. Like, they love sandwiches, whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But And I definitely thought about adding him to my list as well. I'm just gonna spoil this for you right now. I did not, because from a girl's perspective of like a straight girl's perspective, he's trying to manipulate her into getting something. Like it's very much like a trope that you get.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now that my boyfriend watched Frozen for the first time last week. And the moment Hans was on the screen, he was like, "That guy's evil."
What? He was able to suss it out?
See, he waited so long. Of course he knew it by then. Like, everyone's been saying it.
Because, okay, so Hans is like, what, the last in line of 12? Or like towards the end?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bro, like, there's no way he's going to get up that. Think about with Prince Harry, right? Prince Harry looked at the line and was like, this ain't going to work. How can I get some kind of power? I can go this route. Marry somebody, but he's like, the way I'm gonna do it is like I'm 12 in line, but she's number 2. So I'm gonna get number 2
already
in line.
moving up.
Yeah, I'm already moved from 12 to 2.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure it out from there. That I feel like is ingenuity. I feel like that's some real crazy motivation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have Hans at number 4.
All right.
Awesome.
And
Yes.
you got it number 3.
So at number 3, I have everyone's favorite drag queen, Ursula. From the Little Mermaid. Now, once again, my list is very much based off of rewatchability. And Ursula is she's fun. Like, her intentions are crazy. Like, she literally just has, a seaweed field of souls in her cave, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love that your best friends are eels also. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Flotsam and
And
Jetsam?
Flotsam and Jetsam.
But, she gets it. She's like, boom, 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 and boom, 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 and hip, knocking stuff over with her big old hips, and just give it, telling it to Ariel as it is, as she should be told.
That's why I relate to her so much. Yeah. I'm like, she ain't that bad.
She's getting everything spoon-fed to her, and Ursula's just like, yeah, I'll turn you into a human because that's stupid. you could be the queen of Atlantis or wherever they are.
Now Ariel's the youngest of 7, so if we're thinking about Hans's odds, her odds are also very low.
But she's also her daddy's favorite.
She is the favorite because she's the baby, but she's also the most irresponsible.
True.
I don't even know if she wants to rule Atlantica.
Didn't
I think she just wanted to collect her junk and look at her humans,
Yeah.
And now the other reason is because, who among us who doesn't love swimming or played in a pool over the summer didn't act like we were a mermaid or reenact the Little Mermaid or act like we were Neptune or
that's a lady said.
Kevin and I didn't do that.
You guys are yourselves into us. You did. Yes, you did.
We have producer Chris here.
If you ever dived underwater and tried to keep your legs together and flopped around, you pretended to be a mermaid. And then when you got out of the water,
admit to it, guys. You know it's true.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the Caribbean, I'm like,
when you propped yourself up on the side of the pool and just sat there, you were like, I don't know when. You all did it.
Definitely. I love Ursula. The reason I put her on my list is, again, her motivations make sense to me. She's ready to the side of nowhere, some junky old place. She's a powerful woman, or octopus, whatever, squid, whatever.
Drag queen.
Drag queen. We'll go with drag queen. She's a powerful drag queen. She has powers. People come to her and she's sitting there thinking, why aren't I running shit? And she sees Ariel. Ariel's an idiot. And she's like, all right, I got you. The only issue I have is when she cheated. She already tied both the Ariel's hands behind her back. Not only are you going up there where you're not used to it, I'm going to take your voice too. And Ariel still somehow got this dude to fall in love with her. And then she had to go in and cheat. It's come on, play fair, Ursula.
See, my thing with Ursula, the reason she's not on my list is because Ursula, as a baddie, she put out a contract, you know what I'm saying? It's like my guy Rumpelstiltskin, right? All the time. My guy said there's always a price for magic. Same thing with Ursula. She's like, listen, Ariel, here's the contract. It's up to you if you want to read it. Don't worry about it. Sign at the bottom. And Ariel didn't get her mermaid lawyers up in there.
Nope, she should have
didn't.
read the fine print.
She should have.
Sebastian needs to
She
go to
had a
law
whole
school right
song
now.
explaining, hey, if you don't pay the price,
Yeah.
I'm going to take you.
Yeah.
She explained it clearly.
And though Ursula's one of my faves, that's why she's not on my villains list because but based on my criteria, her motivations made sense.
Yeah, like I said, I totally get why she did what she did.
I mean,
Do you, boo? Get it?
But she is
Yeah.
daddy, and I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's also
But-
back in the 70s, 80s, 70s, the movie came out.
The 90s. It was 92
yeah,
or something like that.
90s, like yeah,
The way early 90s?
yeah, the early 90s,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But and yes, I agree. She explained it all very clearly. But like, she's so damn rewatchable.
Oh,
Guys.
yeah.
Like,
No, I love it. Your criteria makes total sense.
Your criteria makes sense.
Makes total
for
sense.
mine,
I get
that's
it.
why I
No,
didn't.
get it. But she's not on my list based on my criteria, but for yours, Little Mermaid is extremely rewatchable.
Yes, it is.
Ursula, like you said, is everyone's favorite drag queen. She is
favorite.
amazing. So,
She won RuPaul Drag Race All Stars.
All-Stars. It's the All-Stars.
As she should have.
She's
She's
number
the-
one on
she's
the
the
top
new
5
host.
goes.
Yeah,
Every
Disney
drag
edition.
queen wants to be Ursula. And when they were doing that live action Little Mermaid, I said, if Ursula's not a drag queen, you're doing it wrong. And they got Queen Latifah, so I was like, I'll let
That's
you
close.
lie.
That's
The
close.
only
enough.
way.
That's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shante, who do you have at number 3?
So my 3 might be a little obscure, but it's Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
See? Yes, that was one.
Thank you. I'm glad you agree. And Claude Frollo, he's like the head archdeacon of the church in Paris. He's the most corrupt. He like represents every horrible aspect of the Catholic Church in one human being. He abuses his power. He has this crusade against gypsies, totally based on prejudice. He has this sexual thing with Esmeralda, and then she becomes his fixation. He uses that to basically destroy the town of Paris, and he's abusing the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo, based solely on how he looks, something that he cannot control. So, for him to be a quote unquote man of God, he is exactly the opposite of what you would expect or want from a quote unquote man of God. So that's why he's my number 3.
Excellent.
So for all of your criteria, that makes sense. When I was doing my criteria,
Hunchback
I
is not
thought of-
It is.
well, yeah.
I'll
So
say
I,
this. For the music in Hunchback, and I may be the only one because I'm like the theater nerd, but like I will sit there and sing me an Out There or the Bells of Notre Dame. The music is gorgeous, it's beautiful. I give it to you that people aren't going to pick that one to rewatch, but for my criteria and like the pure evilness of this person, he totally has to be on my list.
yeah, no, we definitely, I was talking about it, I was like, I couldn't remember his name, I was like, didn't the evil guy in the Hunchback, like, make Esmeralda kind of be his hoe?
Or
And
tried
then,
to.
like, and then, like, he, like,
And then when she
wanted to
refused him,
kill
he tried to
Quasimodo,
kill
like,
her.
I could not remember, like, exactly what happened. I
Right.
just remembered that he was bad, and I couldn't remember his name. But, like, growing up, I loved Esmeralda as a character. Like, Esmeralda was it. And she was questionable race-wise, which is how most of my favorite princesses are. So, like, cause
Everybody.
I'm mixed, and so when I saw any character that I couldn't, like, fully place, like, Agrabah's not a real place. So, like, Jasmine, Esmeralda, Mulan, like, all these like, anyone who wasn't of pure, like, European descent, I was like, yeah!
That's
You!
my person.
So
Queen.
Esmeralda was, like, one of my top characters as a kid, but I could not rewatch that
That
movie.
movie sucks.
Well, I'll be
It's
honest.
not
I
my
don't
favorite.
watch it. I listen to it for the songs.
Okay.
Like that song that Claude Frollo sings when he's like wrestling with his disgustingness and he's like, "Hellfire, my fire." I'm like,
Oh, yeah!
it like gets you. You feel
Hits you
how
in- hits you in the
evil.
face.
Yeah.
It gets
She
you in the
listens to
chest.
it before she needs to, like, go into a big meeting. She's like, this is it, guys!
When Shantae's doing
Song.
push-ups, she's like, hellfire.
So yeah.
So I get it. Aaron, who you got at number 3?
So I felt like, in terms of understanding this character, I get it. You're the head of your company and it's going under, you're going to try to do whatever you can to make it right that ship. You know, you don't want it to go down in a bad way. And I also kind of like that he's the kingpin type character for the Pixar universe. I'm going with Henry J. Waternoose from Monsters Inc.
Okay.
He's he runs the Scare Factory.
Okay.
He's the head honcho, but it's not doing so well. And so what
Gotta get the
happens
numbers
then?
up.
He gets his little, he gets Randall to, go start to do some shady stuff.
Mhm.
And, that causes a bunch of shit to happen with Mike and Sully and Boo and, Boo. Boo.
Adorable.
But, yeah, I
Totally
just
adorable.
think that, it kind of fit with me in terms of motivation. I completely understood, where or why he would do some of the things that he was doing, and you can just see it fitting into terms of like he was not a good dude, and it really sucks for Sully because that was his guy, his mentor.
Yeah.
And, what that happens at times. Your mentor isn't exactly who you think they are, and well, luckily for the Monsters Inc. group, they caught him.
Yes.
That was another villain that duped me. I didn't realize he was a bad dude until about.
Because you think it's Randall the whole time.
Yeah.
No, Randall's
So I like when Disney movies put a guy that's very obvious a bad guy in front of you, and then there's like a secret bad guy that's pulling the strings, but the other dude is so obvious and dastardly that you're like, oh, that's the dude.
Yeah.
I know what it is. It makes sense. I'm with it. I got it. And then you're like, psych, this is other guy.
Like, oh, you were too busy looking over there. He's over there.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. That's why I felt like he was, that corporate entity kind of evil villain that, again, you didn't necessarily know was there or like pulling the strings. You think he's on your side. Oh, I got you, Sully, I got you. But bam, you're really trying to stay in my business and I'm going about it unethically. So there you go.
Terrifying.
Yes, too real, too close to real life.
Too close to real life.
Wanted to suck the screams out of kids.
But that's their business, so you know what I'm saying? They weren't on screens.
I mean, it wasn't like the business was a great thing. It literally is frightening
Frightening
children.
kids for entertainment.
And some places use the yen, some places use the euro, some the dollar, some screens. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
But,
They
yeah,
have
he's
their
a-
currency.
he's
It's all about that currency.
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die. Literally, like that's some evil shit right there.
That is. For me, I have a Pixar guy as well.
All right.
For me, at number 3, I have Chef Skinner from Ratatouille. Ratatouille, for those that don't know, is one of the best Disney Pixar films out there that a lot of people just have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a little rat named Remy who is controlling this human kid and is making him a world-renowned chef after watching basically Julia Child get it done. So Chef Skinner, though, works at the restaurant. He owns the restaurant that Gusteau, the world-renowned chef, used to own. And he's like taking his spot, right? So Chef Skinner, though, seems to hate the Gusteau's son,
His heir.
his great
His
grandson.
illegitimate heir.
Yeah, he hates him before he finds out he's the heir. He already doesn't like the kid. And this kid just comes in looking for a job, and Gusteau's already against him.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I forgot that kid's name. What is his name? I think it's Alfredo.
Remy?
Alfredo.
No, Remy's the
The
rat.
rat. Yeah, Alfredo is his name. So he hires Alfredo, and he already is against him, even though he hired him. So then, early in the movie, they make a soup, and Remy makes the soup. He controls Alfredo, Alfredo makes him make the soup, and then after Alfredo makes the soup, he's like, tastes it, and he's like, "This is really good. How'd you do this? I'm already not a fan. I want you out of here." And he makes him a soup chef first, and then he has no choice but to continue to promote him, all the while trying to undermine this kid who was a garbage guy the whole time for no reason, trying to figure out why this is the case. So this is why I have Chef Skinner at number 3, because his motivations didn't make sense at the beginning. Towards the end, it made sense when he found out that he's the heir. Before that, he just hates him as what he's just for no reason.
He also, because he's ruining Gusteau's legacy. He's taking the recipes and he's watering them down, turning them into TV. They're kind of like a Chef Boyardee type of thing.
Right.
And so I feel like this kid coming, he thinks, what do you know? Because, his mom was a friend of Gusteau's, which we find out later. I mean, they were very good friends.
They're good friends.
And so he's like, you're trying to ruin my operation. I don't know what you're doing here. So it's just this paranoia that comes from his corruption.
Mm-hmm. This is why, that's why on my list, he's a real bad dude.
I thought you were going to say mother. I was like, shut your mouth.
He's a real bad. Shut your mouth. Yeah, baby. All right. Hey, who do you have at number 2?
Okay, so at number 2, I have a villain from a movie that I've only been able to watch twice, but I've seen on Broadway, or off Broadway, 3 times. And that is Scar from The Lion King.
Okay.
Now, as a child...
Wait, you've only seen The Lion King twice?
Yes. The animated version I've only seen twice.
That's embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
So, when I was a kid, I saw The Lion King in theaters, and there weren't very many movies that made me cry as a kid.
Same.
I did not cry. The first time I cried at Beauty and the Beast, I was probably 17, when you finally, you're like, oh, I get it now. Ah! Right? But the scene,
Mustafa's dead.
Mufasa.
Yeah, Mufasa. So when the movie starts, Scar is just the sarcastic, dark, villainous character. But you're like, I like him. I'm like, I relate. I don't know. You don't like him, but
you get it.
He's charismatic. You have an affinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see why his nephew loves him to death, that's the uncle you want to hang out with.
Literally.
His nephew is you're just my weird uncle. Mm-hmm. Let's hang. And he's like, nah, I don't like you. I get that. But, the whole beginning of the movie, you're like, okay, something bad's gonna happen, but I don't know what. And then when he murders Mufasa,
cold blood,
long,
oh my God,
the king,
mm-hmm.
And it's basically Simba's fault. Let's be honest. Simba.
It's not his
fault. Simba was a pawn.
Manipulated.
He was a pawn in the game.
Okay, he's a pawn in it, but.
See, you done sip Scar's Kool-Aid. You let Scar convince you that
it was he's part of Scar's pride over here.
No. So then, the scene, World of Color, right? World of Color at California Adventure. There is a montage at one point of every sad scene in, any Disney movie from the last 20 years.
They said, you don't make me cry today.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what Disney was like. Oh, you came here for fun? We gonna show you what's up.
Make you cry today.
So the montage starts off with it's black. The water's black, and all you hear is, Dad.
Oh, that's wrong.
And then they project Mufasa and Simba crawling under his arm. So now, why I couldn't watch this as a kid? It was too dark for thinking about my dad dying was too dark.
Mm-hmm.
I could not handle that as a child. My dad as a child was everything to me. And so when normally there's a dead parent, Bambi, the mom dies, but I was like, if Bambi.
The mom gets shot.
Yes.
She doesn't die. She is murdered.
And also,
and you hear the gunshot.
Yeah.
I feel okay, I'm not going to argue with it because I don't get a derail, but she was developed well enough that when Bambi's mom died, I was like, what did they do?
Well, for me, when Scar goes in there and kills Mufasa, it was just
yeah.
And when he tried to pin it on Simba, I didn't even care about that. I was like, Simba's an idiot who believes it. This was his fault.
Sure.
This had nothing to do with him.
Simba was a kitten.
Yeah.
He was a baby. Of course he
believed
him.
Yeah, exactly.
Scar's an asshole. He sent him to the freaking area where his dad said not to, but your cool uncle says, hey, you should go there. That's family, man.
Yeah.
That's family. Come on.
Well,
Family's
that's why
family
he's
says-
my number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 villain, because he's number 2 means poop, and he's poop.
He's a poop.
I get it.
So, but I can see the Broadway version as many times as I want, because for some reason when it's humans dressed up as cats, I'm like,
Humans can die, whatever.
yeah. But when
Okay.
it's animated, sad cartoons, and James Earl Jones is falling to his death, it's a little too much.
James Earl Jones is a human.
Yes, I do.
Just want to
do
make sure.
know that.
Just clarify.
If anyone's wondering, Shante, who do you got at number 2?
My number 2 is the most crooked, evil man in Coco, Ernesto de la Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Coco destroyed me.
Hit me in the feels. Hit me in the
It
feels.
certainly did. I'm like, damn, this movie, I'm too old to be crying this much. But oh my gosh, Ernesto de la Cruz, not only does he not have any talent, he kills his supposed best friend to steal his songs, completely changes them, and then takes them for his own, and convinces that best friend's grandson that he's his grandson. It just keeps going. It spirals.
Even in death, he continues
Even in
to
death.
perpetuate
And then
this
he
lie.
tries to erase his best friend who he killed and songs he sung for eternity. He prevents his grandson from putting his picture up on his ofrenda. I'm like, you won, dude. You have all this shit.
You had all this
didn't
shit
give-
in life. You
Oh
couldn't
my
give the man a little bit of
couldn't
death.
give- Oh my God. That movie, I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing here?
Yeah, that dude was bad.
It was bad.
He was bad. Have you seen Coco?
I have not seen Coco.
Oh,
I just
no.
ruined the whole movie for you.
I actually zoned out because I did not want to have the spoiler. I have absolutely
You
I
rad.
gotta
have to
see
say,
And I
Coco's been out for a while now.
It's-
Listen, but I know when to spoiler alert myself. It just zoned.
I saw it for the first time during the quarantine of 2020. Bro, it was top notch chef's kiss. You should check it out.
I'll do
And
it.
then at the end, I'm not gonna go too far, but I was literally like my shirt was soaked.
That's a lot of tea.
I can't.
I will prepare myself. I'll
Prepare
make sure I
yourself.
have tissues. And
Make sure you have a box of
I'll
tissues.
be ready.
Try not to throw anything at the screen.
And did you see Coco?
I have not seen Coco.
Oh,
but
you
I,
I wrote it for both of y'all.
Trust.
No.
Listen, check it out. If
Patrick
you want to see
ruined
you
it
and your
for me at
boyfriend,
Disneyland.
listen,
Oh,
you and
good.
your boyfriend can go ahead and watch it. Get the box of tissues ready.
Yeah, and I feel like the reveal when you find out all that stuff about him is the thing that gets you in the gut
It's
the
in the
most.
field, right there.
But so I'm sorry if that was taken from you, but
It's still
it's still good.
because
It's
you're
still
gonna
gonna
be
get
surprised. Even though you've seen it, you heard about it, you'll be surprised.
you. Yeah.
Aaron, who you got at number 2?
Well, so I had a tough time placing Scar. I had him a little bit higher, but I'm gonna, in the game of top 5 go, you gotta put some challengers up there sometimes. So I think I'm gonna slot a gentleman into this number 2 position that might be able to take Scar out. His name's Gaston.
That's like
I think all of you guys know you've definitely met him. Arrogant SOB in your life, and he is the king of the Disney arrogant SOBs.
Aaron, let me catch you off real quick. Yes, because at number 2, I also have Gaston.
Oh,
let's go.
Let's tag team Gaston right now.
Yeah, man.
That sounds really naughty. This is a PG podcast. Anyway,
so
arrogant, chauvinistic hunter that literally doesn't care that this woman does not love him
She is not interested whatsoever.
in the slightest.
She has made it very clear
She
Very
does
clear.
not want his advantages or his advances.
at all.
Yes.
The best part is that my guy Gaston has women literally falling over themselves for him. He's like, I'm all right. And this one that's not interested, and that's the one
I want this cute little bookworm, not these other hundreds of girls that are throwing themselves. Handsome, rude, chauvinistic d-bag, and I cannot stand douchebags at all. And he's the king of them.
Well, as you know, from my motivation, Aaron, it's the reason why they do this. She's already told you she's not interested.
Absolutely.
He's like, we still gotta kill the bees for no reason.
Like I can literally imagine this day and age. It's like the dude sliding into this girl's DMs over and
Constantly.
over and
She
over
blocked him. He made her burger.
He's
He's
Same
gonna,
thing.
he's gonna get her email. He's gonna go on what's that job? He's gonna go on her Indeed.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. That's the one. Like he's gonna find
How many ways can I try to holler at you?
Oh, let me see. Oh, you got her. Hey, you got her Snapchat. Let me get her Snapchat.
Let me tell you the other part of that. My guy's inbox is full, and he doesn't care. He's looking for one. He's going through messages, DMs. He's like, silence. Why does Bell love Luke? Why doesn't Bell have a DM in here for me? And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought he should. She should. Maybe you should do this now.
Yes, Don is the absolute fucking worst in that realm of people, and I his motivation is just he's a dumbass.
He's a dumbass.
He's
and
dumb.
a dick.
He's
And the best part about it is that my guy has a whole song about him, right? They sing a song about how great, yes, how great he is, right?
Mhm.
So you have admirers on admirers, yet the one he wants is the one that's made it very clear she's not interested. And then you say, you know what's going to get her? She's interested in this other dude. Let's go kill that dude.
Yeah.
Let's just go kill him.
Absolutely. Let's go. That guy in the old house up the hill. Let's go fucking.
The one in the
murder him.
mansion that nobody goes to?
Yeah. No,
Let's go up there.
let's do it.
Let's-
Grab your pitchforks, boys. Let's go.
Let's go,
fucking
bro.
kill this guy.
And then they all go, you know what? Gaston's leading the charge. Let's go ahead and do it. And they go up there and they have this epic battle
They do.
with Beast.
Yeah.
For no reason, but because Gaston said, let's go.
He's a little butthurt that this girl turned him down. This little bookish girl turns him down, so he's gonna go kill a monster to make himself feel better,
Right.
and then
Correct.
steal the girl. What the fuck?
Well, the best part is that Beast has lived in that castle for years.
Yeah.
And
He
ain't
don't know
nobody,
no one.
he ain't bothered nobody. Ain't nobody worried about Beast. Ain't nobody worried about Beast, but the moment Gaston finds out the girl that's not interested in him is interested in the Beast, he's like, oh, we still need to handle this Beast problem. somebody need to handle this Beast problem. We got a Beast. Did y'all realize we had a Beast problem? We gotta go take care of this. And then they're like, the rest of the town, my favorite part is that he was able to galvanize the townspeople. That was like, we do have a Beast problem.
That's that dumb charisma that he has. He's just like, oh, I can sway people's minds and have them like do my bidding for me. Like he's that kind of intelligence, but he's not smart enough to know like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like that dude didn't hurt no one.
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't mess with nobody. But that's why you have Gaston in it too.
Gaston
That's
too.
why I also had Gaston in it too.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking with it. That's Gaston in it too. That's
Gaston
the
too.
move.
All right.
Like,
Do you?
Oh.
Do you?
how do you ladies feel about Gaston?
I mean,
I'm sure you've dealt with a Gaston or two in your life.
Yeah.
Yes,
I feel like he's the
obviously.
epitome of every dude who's gassed himself up and thought that he's a shit. And so if a woman isn't interested, it has to be because there's other dudes here.
Wait,
It can't be because of me.
But the question is, did he really gas himself up when you have those three triplets literally falling over themselves?
I don't know. They bought into his own myth.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing. He surrounds himself with his yes men. He has his crew. They have a whole song dedicated
Yes.
to him. You know, they start singing the song. He's like, you know what? I am that great. Yeah, I am. You know, so he is that guy. And like you said, he got this whole town to go after this beast who was minding his own business, wasn't bothering anybody. Like,
Beast
just
did not
watching his
come out of
roles
his freaking
slowly
place
well.
in how long?
15, 20 years. Oh, but okay, so you said he's the epitome of the guy that gassed himself up, right?
Right.
The first lines of the song go, gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps.
Mhm.
Every guy here'd love to be you, Gaston.
Who is saying that
even
though?
when taking your
Who's
life.
saying that?
His-
His hype man.
Yeah, right. Everyone
He
needs a
surrounds
hype man.
himself with the hype man and
There's
his
no man
crew.
in town as admired as you. You're everyone's favorite guy. Everyone's awed and inspired by you, and it's not very hard to see why.
Thank you for that recitation.
So-
yeah.
Like, again, but did he tell, hey, I'm feeling bad, LeFou, sing me a song? No. His hype man was like, my job is to make sure this guy knows, you know?
But I'm saying though, is he high on his own supply, or did the people give Gaston?
It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay.
He started it, they took it up, they ran with it, and it keeps feeding itself. It's a machine unto itself. It's its own evil beast. You
Yeah,
know?
what are your feelings on Gaston?
Gaston is the Paul brother of the Disney universe.
Is he Logan or Jake?
He's Jake. Oh, he's Jake for sure. Like Logan seems to be trying to make up for some of the crap he said, but like Jake is just going hard and with, nah, I'm a douche. And he's
that's
just
Gaston?
sticking with it, man.
And that's Gaston.
That's 100% Gaston. I just like, and LeFou 100% is in love with Gaston.
Oh,
Of course,
definitely.
yeah.
Like-
No,
definitely.
Like that's the only reason that song even happens is because he's like, no,
Not
no,
true.
no, no, no.
Not true. Because in that bar, everybody joins in. And singing.
Everyone knows Gaston.
Who doesn't love
Everyone does know
drinking
Gaston.
and singing? That's what you do. Hello, have we all heard of
No one
karaoke
can eat
bars,
that doesn't
piano
look like
bars?
Gaston. Like,
Not anymore. They no longer exist.
Look, we can go into a bar right now. Well, not really, but once we get back in these bars and start singing that song, every mofo will
I'm
jump
gonna
in.
definitely try it. I'm gonna make some recording. God, it disturbed me to see you, Aaron. Look, you so down in the dumps.
Oh, yeah.
Every man here wants to be you, Aaron.
oh, man.
Even when taking your life.
I'm so flattered right now.
Look, he's starting to believe it. Look,
Wow, you see me puff? I'm puffing
Yeah.
my chest up
let me
right
go
now,
find some
guys.
uninterested bookworm now. Oh.
Damn right. When do the libraries open? I gotta find you a bed. Let's go.
Find you a bed in the library. and who do you have for your top 5? Number 1, who is it?
Okay, so my number 1 is Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove.
Okay.
Oh,
Why Yzma? Because one, Yzma on her own is entertaining and is like a very good character, just generally. But then she has the added sidekick of Kronk, which brings her villainous level up to like a 20 on a scale of 1 to 10. Because they're like back and forth, their search for Cusco when he turns into a llama, her little like, and then I'll put that box in the other box, and then I'll put that box in a box, and I'll send it to myself, and I'll smash it with a hammer. Like, her entire plan is ridiculous. And like, for some reason, she's the next in line for the throne. Like, it's this whole, she wants to be the one who's in power. But they flipped the script this time. So instead of an angry person attacking the soon-to-be princess because they want to be the one who has the throne, it's the angry assistant attacking the king because she wants to be the one who has the throne. And I like that. Also, the entire movie, just in general, is a masterpiece.
I love that you put her there. She's on my honorable mention list for sure, just because of exactly those things that you said. I love that movie though because it's like Deadpool-esque. There's so much breaking of the fourth wall.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
how did this even happen? And then they pull them on the map and they're like, well, actually, it shouldn't have happened. Or like, they pull the lever and they fall down into the pit. Like, why do we even have that lever? Like, there's some of that like just really great humor into it. And so I like your pick. I like your pick there.
Also, at the end of the movie, she turns into a cat. And Eartha Kitt is the voice, and
Oh, of
she
course.
famously played Catwoman. And so, I think that that's a very good callback, and also, she's adorable when she's a cat.
Yeah. Again, she's relatable though.
Yeah.
Cusco's a
Yeah.
jerk.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
not
so-
fit
Cusco
for
is a
the
jerk.
job. She's smarter and, she has all this power. So I can see why she wants to get rid of him. So that's why for me, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
Not so bad. And plus, I love Emperor's New Groove. It's hilarious.
It's underrated. I know, like, when I was doing some research for this, it's like it's hated in the like Disney lexicon by a lot of people that are like, "But I don't get it. I love it. I guess it's just the humor in it, like that it's so different, and
It's a
it's
little
that
more
breaking
adult,
that.
I think.
Cusco is not like your normal
Yes.
hero.
Yeah. Well,
He's kind of
Ponch-
hard to
I mean,
root for.
it's Ponchos the hero in the
Ponchos
Florida.
the hero.
Ponchos the hero. You know, Ponchos the teacher father figure,
Right.
you know.
Bakusko is like he's popped up as the hero, and
He's the star.
Well,
He's
he's
not
the
the
start.
hero.
No, because it literally starts off with him as Llama. He's like, "This is the story about me. I'm this guy," and it's like, "But you're a llama in the rain."
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you a story about all these evil friends of mine and how I'm here.
Yeah. So
But I also like that every character in that movie is likable.
I like
even the
Emperor's New Groove
villain.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Emperor's New Groove a lot, and
I
I feel
just
like
think,
that's a very underrated.
and I love Gronk. He's just like
Oh.
squeaker, squeaker,
Yeah.
squeaker.
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
squeaky, squeaky.
I don't know that there's a Gronk I don't like. You know, what I'm saying?
It's Kronk.
Kronk.
There's a Gronk I
Not
don't like.
Gronk from.
I don't know if there's
Literally,
Gronk.
if they did a live action, if Gronk
probably
was
could be
not Gronk in the live action Emperor's New Groove, I would be upset.
I think that the guy who voiced Kronk could probably play.
Patrick Warburton,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he's-
Patrick
It's
Warburton.
Yeah, Patrick.
He should be
Buddy.
Gronk. Kronk. I keep
Kronk.
saying Gronk.
Gronk.
Kronk,
Yeah.
Gronk.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. He would actually make a really good one, but I think having Gronk in that role would be pretty damn funny too.
Hilarious. So my number one, we've said the name already, but again, going back to evil for evil's sake, and I can't understand. It's Cruella DeVille. Her
Right.
whole deal is she wants to kill puppies and skin them
Wait,
for
you
a
have
coat.
Cruella 1?
Yeah,
I have Cruella 1. Let's
That's
go.
right.
Okay, let me tell you why Cruella DeVille.
her name is Devil. Her name is Devil. It's already there for you.
She, like I talked
I'm not
for
gonna
me.
lie, I had her at 1-2, but I switched it at the last.
Oh,
one. Just to,
okay.
Just to,
We could have had a trifecta.
Just to
So
make it
let me tell you
interesting.
why I also had Cruella. She fits my criteria perfectly. Her motivations is fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know we don't curse a lot on this podcast, but it had to be said.
Yeah.
Fucked, right? She wants to kill puppies to make
make
a
a
damn coat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's literally
That's
it.
it. Most people see puppies and go, "Oh, they're cute," and they want to protect them. Kevin doesn't even
I'm
like
a
dogs.
notorious
Yeah,
animal
hates
disliker, and I think she's fucked up. Like,
Literally the man in this room that does not like dogs.
The only
is
person
like,
in this room who might identify with her is like, "No, hell no."
Listen,
So-
Cruella, that's a bridge too far, my friend. Listen, I'm not a fan of the animals, but I'm not going to kill them to make a coat.
And she's gone around the countryside stealing these puppies from other people. She, like, her whole, the entire enterprise of this thing just to make one
One
coat.
coat. It's not even to make a
For
line of
herself.
coat. There's a line of coat. I need 101 puppy furs
Yeah.
For
to
me.
make a single coat.
Oh my God.
And on top of that, she's not even a very big woman.
No,
She's
she's
101.
skinny as hell. She's probably doing fine to make
She's
it
an
work.
oversized coat.
Yes. It's totally
She
wasteful.
needs 100. She needs like 99 because pretty and pretty.
Yeah,
pretty,
they're,
whatever.
but she steals their puppies. So she takes puppies from people she knows.
Yep.
She'll see their sorrow. She'll see their angst. She'll see them miss their puppies as she's walking around wearing them. This
Right
bitch is nuts. She's
This one right here was Alberto. You see that little patch right there?
lucky you call him lucky. He's lucky he got him like that.
What? Exactly.
She is completely evil. There's nothing redeemable about her. Nothing about what she's doing
Mhm.
makes sense or is
And then
understandable.
she has like henchmen that help her, which
Yeah.
is insane.
Two grown men help her to try to catch and murder puppies.
Yeah, just
She got other people to
not
join.
just to murder puppies, to murder them for a coat. Because if you just say she murdered puppies, you would think, oh man, maybe she's like allergic. Maybe there's like some deeper thing.
No. There's no excuse for wanting to murder
Listen.
puppies. Don't try and rationalize the excuse.
Listen,
We're
let me
not.
explain
We're
this.
just trying to see
I
how
said-
can we make this not as evil as it is.
Yeah.
And, but there is no way.
The fact that she's doing it for a coat makes it, I feel like, over the top, which is why Cruella is number one on my list as
Number
well.
one on mine.
So I want to say about a year ago, I was having this conversation in a bar about the worst Disney villain. And I actually have to give this take about Cruella to another guy because I had on my list at number one, I believe I had Ursula at the time because I was talking about that though she has a contract, the motivation just didn't seem, because the question was specifically about motivation.
Right.
And I said, she makes a contract, but she could have just told Ariel, you don't want this deal. And she could have left, right? So that's why I had Ursula high up there on my list. And then this guy that, I was talking to my friend Stephanie, and then this guy walks up, and it was a friend of hers from work. And he I said the same thing to him, and without a question in his thought, in his mind, he said, "Oh, it's Cruella de Vil for sure." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then he was like, "Yeah, Cruella, she wants a coat." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. You're right. She wants a coat.
A coat.
A coat.
One coat. And this woman has money.
Yeah,
She can go buy a coat.
she can go buy a
You
coat."
need to steal puppies and murder them for a coat? Bitch, go to the store.
Yeah.
Go get you a coat. They can make you a polka dotted coat.
If you ever seen,
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother, and they talked about the glass breaking, that was it for me because my mind
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, he's right.
You're so
Cruella
right.
de Vil's the worst,
Yeah.
the worst villain."
First.
So I'm with you, Shantae. I'm riding with you on that one.
That's right.
Me and you, both of us, Cruella de Vil.
Listen,
Aaron, what you got?
listen. I mean, she's pure evil, and I get it. But I'm gonna go with somewhere else just to give it some interest instead of having three of us do Miss
It's
Cruella.
okay.
No.
We can agree.
Listen,
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
no, no.
I
no,
didn't
no.
do it.
No.
Yeah, she's
I'm
having
gonna change it up. What's something that you think about when you think about like action movies? That a lot of times it's like, what's the death count? You don't really think about that in like Disney/Pixar. But I'm gonna give you guys a stat. This guy killed 20 people. It's like up there in the highest number of actual victims.
I got you. I know what you're going to say.
Syndrome
Yep.
from The Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
He's got kind of a sins of the father thing going on. His favorite superhero in the world was Mr. Incredible. Well, he's a little kid, and Mr. Incredible, his hero, is a complete dick to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that motivates him to become a superhero. And along his path, he murders at least 20 other supers to get into a position where he can potentially then challenge his hero and hopefully destroy him. He's the only superhero that is needed in the world. So I think in terms of motivation, I mean, it fits into my criteria of things like I get why he's doing it, but it's fucking wrong. You can't kill 20 people.
Right.
So
And not just people. He killed 20 superheroes.
Superheroes.
People
He's-
who
yes.
save others.
Yeah.
That's like going out and killing like 20 doctors or
Yeah.
paramedics or something.
So I mean,
And the thing is, he didn't really do it necessarily to beat Mr. Incredible. That was his motivation. He did it so that people would know who he was.
yes, oh yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Like his motivation was, I want to be the most well known because Mr. Incredible was the most well known, the most talked about, the Superman, if you will, and he wanted to take over that slot and be put on that Mount Rushmore, if you will. And like, I'm better than Mr. Incredible. I'm better than this asshole that completely, just didn't care about me.
Yeah.
So I think that he's definitely worthy of discussion in that top spot. I mean, 20 murders of
Superpowered people, yeah.
So, I mean,
So I think what we need to weigh here is what's more important:
oh.
101 puppies.
Again, Anne, we'll get there in a few minutes. You're new to this podcast. We'll get there. But yes, we'll talk about
See,
that.
now I have a question though, because I put Cruella. Kevin put Cruella. I can't vote for his Cruella.
Yeah, you can. And I can go for yours. That's how this is going to be a very
I'll just
interesting.
make sure.
It'll be interesting to see
Let's
what
see if this play
what's
back
happening.
against on. So, I think Syndrome's a real bad dude.
He's not good.
He's a real bad dude. You got some water over there?
It's not I.
You got some water over there, Ian?
Anne's like cooking
Did she
dinner or
step
something
away
like
from-
that.
No, I'm here. I'm trying to cover up my mic. Sorry.
It is
picks
not
up
working.
everything.
So, yeah, I mean, Syndrome's a real bad dude, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Especially because he's going after these supers.
Right.
And like basically like drawing him out of retirement, you know what I'm saying? But for me in my situation, my criteria, I get it. Anytime I get
Again,
why your motivation's
No,
like,
no, but again, that's what my criteria
Anytime
was.
I can relate-
My criteria
Like I said
was,
that
I
last
get it.
week,
I
right?
get it.
We're the heroes of our own story. So if I can relate to you, let's not be too bad, right? But
Dave's over here like, how many supers can I go kill?
then you have to think about the playing field, right?
Yeah.
Puppies versus a grown woman, that playing field is not even.
we're not here to litigate. We're
Which
not
is
here to
daddy
litigate
versus
Cruella.
superpower.
We're not litigating Cruella versus Syndrome. This
I'm
is
just
just
saying.
about Syndrome, and I get it. I understand. And number one is real tough for me, but I get it. I understand where you go.
Listen, and again, I had Cruella slotted there too because fucking puppies. Come on now, it's crazy. But I felt like Syndrome with that 20 super kill count, at least
That's pretty high.
makes it for an
20
interesting
kills.
discussion.
That would be like a good in Call of Duty. If you had 20 kills on a map, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good discussion.
I mean, I feel like your guys' lists are very similar in your criteria, whereas my list was like, do I want to watch them over
I
and
get
over
it.
again?
And
And so my list is much different, and I'm just
There's
saying
nothing wrong with that.
Visa is probably...
there's literally
Nothing
nothing
wrong
wrong with
with
that. You have any, and you have any honorable mentions?
Shantae brought him up earlier, but Hades
Mm-hmm.
from Hercules, Jafar from Aladdin. Like, here's the reason why I did not include those two. Hercules as a film, I feel like Hades almost wasn't even like Meg and Hercules and the little guy and all that. Like, that was what I paid attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aladdin for me as a kid was just, I watched it all the time, and I know a lot of people think Jafar is a scary character, but for me he just wasn't, because I watched it so much, and like for me the music overshadows everything else that's going on, like while Jafar is basically threatening to force marriage upon Jasmine and murder Aladdin.
And that's the sense of why Jafar is doing it. He's very similar to Yzma in that way, right? The person on the throne's an idiot. He has a whole bunch of power. I should be running things. So, like, they're very similar in that sense. I like Jafar. I just like him. The elegant. You know, he's the same voice for Scar. No, for Claude Frollo. Sorry, he's the same voice for Claude Frollo. So that kind of makes me go, all right. You know, he's a bad dude, but I still I see why I did it. I see why.
And Jafar's was, like, the king, yes, he's a goof and, like, he's not managing the kingdom well, but he's likable, unlike Kuzco at the beginning.
Right.
He's, like, Kuzco is not a likable character at the very beginning of the film. He's only thinking about himself. Like, the Sultan at least seems to be trying to think about other people. He's not like, give me stuff, give me stuff, give me stuff. Whereas Kuzco-topia. He's all about him. So those would be my honorable mentions, because I made my list based off of like how much entertainment they brought my life.
I had Hades. I loved Hades as a villain. I think he did an excellent job. He was also likable. You're like, you're an evil dude, but I hang out with you a little bit, Hades. One of my honorable mentions was Autopilot from WALL-E.
Okay.
Like, that moment in WALL-E where they show the pictures of the captains and he's slowly getting bigger and the captains are slowly getting smaller. I was like, mind blown. Like, it meant so much. And I think, in WALL-E, it's hard to pinpoint the villain there. Like we said before, human beings are the villain. Big businesses are the villain, not taking care of things. But, like, he really does that stand-in of, like, showing how over time the perspective kind of gets skewed for it. So I had to put him on my honorable mentions. I think that's it.
I had the stepmother from Cinderella, because she's promoting her ugly ass daughters versus the true beauty that Cinderella was. I mean, it's all Disney fantasy stuff. We briefly talked about it earlier, but I had the man that killed Bailey's mom.
Yes!
I'm not gonna lie, I debated slotting it in there like around 3, somewhere in like that range, just because, again, like, we're humans, like, we eat meat, or some of us do, like, and I'm not a big hunter myself, like, but I know you don't kill the freaking mama deer.
Yeah.
Like, you get daddy deer and you put the freaking horns on the wall or whatever, like, whatever people do. It's not really my style, but, like, that really does crush you when baby's mom dies. So I have a tough time.
She protected family.
Yes, absolutely. I think those were the two. I mean, Yzma I didn't think was going to make the list, and so thank you, because that was an honorable mention for me. So
for me, I had Captain Hook.
Yeah.
He has no real beef with Peter Pan, but he has like all the beef with Peter Pan, right? Like, it's a really good thing. Like I said, my criteria was based on your motivations, like he'll fight Peter Pan forever.
Yeah.
So I know you guys are not wrestling fans, but in wrestling, when there's like a really good match, they'll chant "fight forever" because they just want that match to just continue to go.
Right.
That was basically Hook versus Peter Pan, right? Because Peter Pan is almost eternal. Captain Hook over there with his Jolly Rogers is almost eternal.
Right.
And they will constantly just try to get the better of each other in Never Never Land. For no reason. They're just stuck there. All right, so those are honorable mentions. Shantae, run us through the list of the top 5. At number 5, what do we have?
For number 5, for Am, the Junior Ranger Scouts from Zootopia. For me, Pistol Pete, Aaron Shere Khan, Kevin has Lotso.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Anne has Cruella DeVille. I have Charles Muntz. Aaron has Sid Phillips. Kevin has Prince Hans.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Anne has Ursula. I have Claude Frollo. Aaron has Waternoose. And Kevin has Chef Skinner. Number 2, Anne has Scar. I have Ernesto de la Cruz. Aaron and Kevin both have Gaston. For number 1, Anne has Yzma. Kevin and I both have Cruella DeVille, and Aaron has Syndrome.
Perfect. So, Ann, at number 5, you cannot pick Junior Ranger Scouts. Who do you have between Pistol Pete, Shere Khan, and Lotso?
So I'm going to go with my criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And from my criteria, out of all the Toy Stories, I think Toy Story 3 is the best, so I'm going Lotso.
Lotso, okay. Aaron, who do you have from the list?
You know what? I'm going to have to go Lotso also.
Okay. Shantae, what are you thinking?
Man, I was kind of leaning Shere Khan, but Lotso, that scene of them in that incinerator.
The incinerator scene is great.
Lotso is
so
an evil
powerful,
bear.
man.
I'm going to go with Shere Khan because Jungle Book is one of my low-key favorite movies. So, Aaron, I think that was a good pick right there with Shere Khan.
Awesome.
Shantae, who are you taking at number 4?
Number 4,
With the options.
I'm looking at the options. I'm looking at the options. The options are Cruella DeVille. I can't pick mine, Charles Muntz. Aaron has Sid Phillips from Toy Story, and then Prince Hans. I think for the shock value, I have to go with Prince Hans because I didn't see it coming.
For me, at number 4, I'm going to have to go with Sid because Sid, it just made me think. It just made me think so much when Aaron said that. And who you got at number 4? You can't pick Cruella there.
I'm aware. I think I'll have to go with Sid because I remember Toy Story 1, seeing it as a kid made me think that everything came to life when I was asleep, and that gave me like anxiety. But like Sid is like the post Gaston, like it's Gaston's kid. Sid is Gaston's kid, right? So like I did not like him.
Yeah.
He reminded me of kids I knew.
Sid's a
I
dick.
did not want. Yeah, I'm going with Sid. That's because I kind of understand Charles and where he's coming from, but like he also went mad.
Alright. For me, in that slot, I'm going to have to go Cruella because I don't know Prince or Charles. And I certainly have never met Prince Charles, so I think it just works its way out for my vote for Cruella. But
So I think Hans takes it.
No,
So
Sid.
Sid takes it, right?
Sid takes
Yeah.
it.
So so we have Sid taking it there. At 3, we have Anne's Ursula, Shantae's Claude Frollo, Aaron's Waternoose, and then my Chef Skinner from Ratatouille. I think I'm going to have to go with Waternoose because it shocked me. I didn't see it coming. I thought for sure that Randall was the guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Shocker. And so he was just a pawn in the game. So that's why I'm going to go with Waternoose. Shantae, what you got?
I gotta go with Ursula. That's my girl. I love her.
Yeah, Ursula was a good one.
I love her. Waternoose, he was bad,
And-
but I gotta go for Ursula.
are you doing
Aaron, what are you thinking?
Waternoose or Chef?
Aaron, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I've got to go with Chef Skinner.
Okay.
I did like that movie. He was kind of a evil dude.
So, Anne, who are you taking?
So I could be bitter and totally pick Champagne.
That's just
Because
an awkward
I'm
game
I'm
of
gonna-
rock, paper, scissors there.
I'm just telling you right now that the fact that Ursula isn't making the best villains list is ridiculous. But I am going, like, out of the choices, I'm picking Waternoose because I remember being shocked by the twist that he was the one, and I could not remember the name. Like, I would have had to Google the name of the Hunchback of Notre Dame
Yeah.
like, guy. I do remember him being, like, a total dick, but I couldn't remember him.
Go back and rewatch it. Everyone will be like, "Hey, we made a mistake."
Aaron.
So I'm going Waternoose.
Waternoose. Okay, Waternoose is there. For Aaron, your options are Scar, Ernesto de la Cruz, Gaston, and you can't pick your Gaston. So you can still pick
You
Gaston.
can pick his guess
I'm
on.
definitely picking Gaston.
I'm just gonna.
Arrogant dick.
I'm also going to just cut in and also pick Gaston.
I'm sticking with Ernesto de la Cruz, and I know Anne.
can't pick
seen
Ernesto
it.
de la
Oh, I
Cruz.
can't. Dang it! I forgot. He's so horrible.
Just go ahead and pick Gaston.
I'm gonna pick Scar.
Thank you.
Screw both of y'all.
I pick Ernesto de la
Perfect. It's
Cruz.
still Gaston.
I can't. How is Scar not making the villains list? How is
also because
It's definitely
listen, Scar is a fantastic villain. But
I
we're
can't
not
believe
against Gaston,
ridiculous?
who is the villain of villains next to Cruella at one. I'll take number one. At one.
Cruella, of
We're
course.
both taking
And
Cruella.
listen,
take
I'm
Cruella.
not going to be.
Yeah, I think
I'm going for Cruella.
That's
She
right.
was my first
I know she's
one.
awful.
She's terrible.
I'm voting for Cruella. She's
Yes.
trying to kill Puppy.
Yes.
She's trying to kill Puppy.
Okay, so top five goes. Top five list. Aaron, read it for us.
All right, we got Lotso
At number
at
five.
number 5. We have Sid from Toy Story 1 and number 4. We have Waternoose at 3. We have Gaston at 2. And Cruella de Vil, number 1 on the list of baddies.
So with that being the case, I feel like me and Aaron split the Gaston point. I feel like Shantae and I split the number one, the
Cruella.
Cruella point.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the math real quick, it looks like once again Aaron is the winner with 2.5 points.
2.5 points,
This is
baby.
ridiculous. So what needs to happen next week is
We can
have a
discuss
little bit
this
more
one off
strategy.
air.
Aaron's put together like a really good list here. And listen, you had some great people there, but they went up against heavy hitters. The Disney month is going to be a real bloodbath,
yeah.
I think, with characters.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is that if you think of the top 5 villains in all of Disney history, Scar and Ursula are probably going to be on that
They
list.
probably would be. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
They probably would be. But if you're like Scar or Gaston, I'm going to go, Gaston.
I pick Scar.
Gaston doesn't even kill anyone.
Anne will learn how to place these properly on her top 5
Ugh.
next time we invite her back.
Yeah, true. Because if Scar was at 4, he'd probably beat Sid.
Oh, definitely. Scar killed his own brother. Like, the fact that Gaston beat Scar is only because you guys both had him on there. It doesn't make sense.
Well, we were
Gaston
thinking the same
doesn't
thing.
actually get anyone.
That
He
is
tries
the
to
beauty
kill the
of
beast,
top 5
but he
villains.
doesn't.
I didn't think killing somebody makes you a good villain. I mean, Cruella doesn't kill none of them puppies, but she's number
But she
one.
wanted to.
But yeah, and you get to see like her closet of other things she's killed.
It's true. It's true, you do. So with that being the case, it's another win for Aaron.
Yes.
And it's been a pleasure having you
It's been
with
great.
us. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, even though I contest on many of these decisions. I'm very upset.
That's the brilliance of Top 5 Go. We come up with a top 5 list based on where you place them in your top 5
Yeah.
list.
And do you have anything you want to plug?
No,
All right, perfect. Maybe your Instagram, your Twitter.
nah.
All right, sounds good. Aaron, you got anything?
I'm good right now. man.
Shantae?
None for me.
Follow us at
Private
Top 5
citizen.
Go on Instagram. We are also on YouTube. Rate and review us on YouTube. Also, give us 5 stars and give us a nice review on the Apple Podcast. We're also on Spotify. Other than that, guys, I think we're all set. Oh, also join the conversation by writing in the comments your top 5 Disney villains list on YouTube. So let us know what you guys are thinking, what you thought. Tell me if you're with Ant. Or tell me if you understand that Gaston's number 2 and is the best over Scar. Just let us know. You know
I
what
feel
I'm saying?
like you're leading the crowd there.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just talking. Aaron, you feel the same way? Like, yeah, you were saying the same thing? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us.
I wish there was a way for me to storm out of this.
And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us.
Having me.
Bye.
Bye.